not all brats are fuckboys, but all
fuckboys are brats? Yes. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast that's doing it again. Hello, honey. How are you?
I'm great.
Yeah?
How are you?
I'm so good, thank you. I'm glad to be doing this twice in a week.
I know. We're almost on consecutive days. We're trying. We've told everybody that we're getting on a new recording schedule to make our lives a little bit easier and to mitigate any potential delays. And so far, it's working out really well.
Yeah.
This episode will be getting us back on track. This one's going to drop Monday, November 11th for the patrons, and then the 18th for the main line.
Yep.
And then we're going to be just bam.
Yep, going to be back on track. The new schedule is already treating me better.
Yeah.
And things are going good. Huzzah.
Hell yeah. How are you? How are you?
How are you?
How
are you?
Are you?
I'm good, thank you. My right hand has been tingling for like 20 minutes and it's driving me crazy. But other than that, I'm fine. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm happy. I don't know. I'm just happy.
Is it because what's up with didn't you just adjust the microphone? Like
is it
tippy.
Crooked?
Yeah. There we go. That's better.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little flaccid.
Yeah, slightly.
It's
we
droopy.
Need more turgidity in the microphone. Thank you for dealing with that as we went on that journey. But anyway, TLDR, we're all doing great. The recording schedule is going fantastically well, and we have sort of a cheat on this episode because it's really 3 books.
Yes, it is.
For the price of 3 books, but 3 books in one episode. So you're getting 3 books in one episode for the price of one episode, which is really free.
Yes.
So we're just doing 3 books in one episode. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, exactly. So we are doing 3 books. We are doing the Fuckboy Karma series. Currently 3 books available. There is going to be a 4th. I actually spoke with Darling Day earlier today, and they said that they've been working on the 4th book for a little while now. So
for all of those Fuckboy Karma fans out there,
oh hell yeah,
it's going to be a Fuckboy Karma tetralogy instead of a trilogy. Or quadrilogy, excuse me.
If this episode doesn't make at least one Fuckboy Karma fan, I'm gonna be sad.
Yeah,
I really am. So this series, each book in the series is available for $2.99. They are not available in Kindle Unlimited. You have to purchase them. So yeah, I bought all 3 books this week, and that cost me $9. So it's over the cheap smut limit, but fuck you, I wanted to give $9 to a queer author. What are you gonna do?
Well, I mean,
sue me?
They are on average $3 a book. I mean, that's just so. I think it fits.
It does.
Yeah,
it does. I just wanted to make that joke. Give more money to queer people. Just if you see someone on the street who looks queer, just give them $1. Just they've been through enough, you know.
And if somebody hands you $1 and you don't know why, now you know.
And say thank you.
Say thank you.
Yeah.
Which is funny because now that I think about it, that story that became famous amongst our friend group for years when I was in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
So years ago, I was in Chicago real quick, and I was walking around with my good friend and best buddy Rob. And we were walking through Wrigleyville and just minding our own business. And then a couple of young women stopped us and looked me dead in the eye. And one of them says, "Are you gay?" And I said, "What?" And she went, "You're gay." And then just walked away. And this was about 16 years ago. And I think she was she was a drunken sorority oracle or something, because little did I know that just over a decade later, I'd go, yeah, I'm kind of a little gay. Huh. Well,
she saw something in me that I wasn't ready to see yet.
So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're that woman and you're listening to this show now, Venmo me my $1.
You owe this man $1.
You owe this latently queer man $1.
Okay. Anyway, so this series, for the 3 that are available, I just put together a set of triple T's for all of them, for everything that we're going to talk about. So series wide, our triggers are fuckboys and fat women. Neither one of those things should trigger you, but if they do, don't read these books, I guess.
One of them titillates me. Let's go.
Right? And dubious consent. Our tropes are revenge fantasy, bully porn, campus golden boy, football players, good old boy mechanics, and secretly submissives.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a broad swath of
yeah.
of stuff.
Yep.
Right.
You should hear the titillations.
Oh boy.
I have to take a deep breath.
Yeah, you do.
Hardcore femdom erotica. She does this for a living. Dubious consent, punishment and discipline, praise and degradation, mistress and good boy, service and submission, mild slave play, mild feminization, mild saliva play, chastity cages and orgasm delay, sensation play, anal play, use of gags, collars, leashes, spanking with hand, paddle, riding crop, lashing with whip, face sitting, and pegging.
How are we supposed to get to all that in an hour?
These books are on average like 50 pages each.
But still, so
they rule.
But getting all of that is into those books is also all right. I guess I better shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So let's go.
All right. Yeah. Well,
It's Shut the Fuck Up Friday.
Darling Day, the author of these books, got everything that she needed to get into them. Darling Day also writes as DM Winters, by the way, and Day Storm. So we did a DM Winters book before as well. We did Not Alone on Christmas. So this makes Darling Day another one of our repeat authors.
Yeah, we haven't had many.
We haven't.
We had Catherine Moon.
Yeah.
And Gwendolyn Harper, technically, but we did her series.
C. Rochelle series.
C. Rochelle series. And then DM Winters.
And now DM Winters, yeah.
And I'm sure there's probably one in there we're forgetting.
Yeah,
but.
probably. Sorry.
All right, let's. Yeah,
anyway,
we're doing this off the top of our
right.
domes here.
Let's just get into this. So I found these books at like a perfect time because this week sucked hardcore for women and feminine people in general. If you're an American citizen, I am speaking to you on Friday, November 8th of 2024.
Yeah.
So take from that what you will about my meaning there. So when I found these books, I got real excited. I was just going to read the first one, but then it was so good and it was so short that I just kept going. But all 3 of these books follow our FMC. Her name is Rebecca Roberts. We just call her Becca. Becca is a college student. She's at least a senior, but I don't know exactly how old she is. And she's, I got to say, early 20s, mid 20s, somewhere in there.
But she's not like a non-traditional student where she's a college senior who's 39.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know, she is in her early 20s, somewhere in there. She is incredibly hardworking and very focused. She cares a lot about her grades. Like every transition in these books, every time she's just thinking to herself about something, it's about homework or something that she needs to do for school. She's very dedicated. She has long auburn hair and a fair complexion. She blushes very easily. She's very, very hot and fat. And you know that we both love fat women here. So,
amen.
Hi. The other thing that we need to know about Becca is that she makes at least some amount of her money working as a dom. She takes clients via a femdom website. And then she uses a secure transportation system to bring them to her home without them knowing where she lives. She has been doing this for a while. She makes a decent amount of money doing it, but not all of her money because she also waits tables. However, I have to assume that because of this, she probably has no student debt.
Yeah, probably not.
Which fucking rules. She also doesn't live in a dorm. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Because living in the dorm sucks balls. Anyway, she is a very good businesswoman and a damn good dom. And like I said, all 3 of these books are her books. The first book is called Punishing the Fuckboy. The fuckboy in question is named Landon Miller. He is the son of the dean of students. He is a football player. He's a cheerleader fucker. He is the campus golden boy. And Becca hates his guts because for years he's just been egotistical and proud and shitty to her. He gets away with whatever he wants because he's stupid good looking and charming, and his dad has power on campus and he's in a frat, etc., etc. He's got blonde hair and green eyes, and he's your standard issue book boyfriend.
Mhm.
So he's hot. I think at one point she says she could grate cheese on his abs, which is cool. I don't know why, but the whole time I pictured like a buff Dan Stevens. I don't know.
No, okay.
Okay. Maybe because Dan Stevens is really good at making a face that makes me want to punch him.
Yeah.
And Landon is an asshole.
Yeah.
He's all of these guys are like, they're not secretly soft puppy dogs. They're all fuckboys.
No,
That's
they're
the point of this series.
they're all future Republican senators.
Well, they would be if they hadn't met Becca, I'm sure. But anyway, at the start of this book, Becca is very confused because she has gotten a message from someone who is very clearly Landon Miller from her femdom business page.
Did he lead it with, "Hi, this is Landon Miller"?
I think it's because the username has the word Lando in it.
Okay.
And at first she's thinking like, no fucking way. This is a prank or something. This guy isn't a secret sub. Like, he is too full of himself. He's too full of himself to secretly be into this. But she can't stop thinking about like how hot he is and how good it would feel to punish this guy, not just for herself because he's been calling her fat nerdy Becca for the past few years, but for every woman on campus that he has used and abused in his own ways.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
To be a sexy angel of retribution.
Absolutely. And so she's like, fuck it.
And
Schedules the meetup.
And get paid for the privilege.
God, yes. Every single time. Absolutely. So she sends them for the meetup. She schedules a meeting with him at a coffee house. At first, he thinks that she's fucking with him, that the guys have like turned this into a prank somehow. There's no way that she's Rebecca from the Femdom website. So apparently he is here on his own volition to some degree, but again, he is hesitant to believe that Becca is the one that he's supposed to be meeting with, specifically because she's like always wearing layers and like frumpy cardigans and leggings, and she's like, I don't walk around wearing leather and bustiers all the time, idiot.
Yeah.
I like to be comfortable. There's a lot of focus in this specific book about how Becca knows that Landon wants to objectify. He wants to see more of her body than she's going to show him for a while, and that makes him very mad. Landon actually never denies sending the request to the Femdom profile. First he says that he was drunk, and then he says that he was just joking around with the guys, and then he says he wouldn't have actually done it if he knew it was her, but he never actually leaves the coffee shop. So she offers him a deal. Over the next couple of days, she will punish him around campus. She will corner him. She will come up to him when in public and bother him, embarrass him, belittle him, make him feel small. And if he ends up liking it, then they'll do a full scene over the weekend.
It's like a little trial.
Yeah.
It's like a 7-day free trial.
Yep.
You make sure you gotta cancel your dom before the
Exactly. Put an alarm on your phone.
Cancel Netflix, cancel Audible, cancel my dom.
Anyway, so he is he's got way too much ego to ever say no to this. He thinks of this as a challenge. All of these men think of her as a challenge. And anyway, he's like big man on campus. What's she gonna do to him, right? Yeah. So deal made. That evening, she talks over her plans with her roommate Charlotte, who is also her apprentice, like her dom apprentice. Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
I love the idea that you can apprentice under a dom. Like
you're supposed to.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah. That's part of the culture in the scene is finding a mentor.
Wow.
Yeah. To help you learn how to properly dom and sometimes properly sub.
I learned a thing.
Yeah. I'm not, neither one of us are in the scene obviously, but I have a lot of friends who are, and it's so cool when every time they tell me stuff, I'm like, God, that's genius. Everybody should do it like you guys do it. That's amazing. Everybody needs like a big brother or a big sister.
Yeah.
Like a sex big brother, just to make sure that you know what you're doing and everybody's happy and safe. Mm-hmm. Come on, man. That's a smart thing.
Adopt a dom program.
In the arms of... Hi, I'm Sarah McLachlan. Sorry.
For just 35 cents a day, you can be punished
Support our struggling doms.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so she's talking to Charlotte, who is like, bro, the ethics of you taking out a revenge fantasy on a guy who was paying you. And Becca's like, yeah, he agreed to this. He has to know that women kind of hate him. And he's paying me $800 to do this. Like, yeah, it's fine.
I am now the avatar for the women that he knows he's pissed off.
Exactly. The next day, Becca and Landon have their first class of the day together, so she makes sure to like make his morning very bothersome. She stands in front of him so he can't get into the classroom until he says please, and then she like insults him openly, not maliciously, but just she pokes at his ego in ways that make people laugh at him a little bit. And he tries to like flirt with a woman who is sitting on the other side of him, and she makes it so that that woman, who clearly does not want Landon's attention at that moment because she's in class trying to fucking learn, gets the space that she needs, while Landon also gets put in his place a little bit. He tries to get the best of her throughout all of the interactions that they have, but he fails spectacularly every time because Becca is ready for him. He attacks things that aren't attackable, you know, like when she's in front of him in the classroom and won't move, he says, please move your fat ass off the sidewalk. And she says, well, I would, but then there would be an even bigger ass alone on the sidewalk. Like, you can't insult me, buddy.
Yeah.
You can't hurt me. You're small. And that's the thing that's really doing it for him. So by the end of the day, let's see. Oh, by the end of class, she gives him his first good boy, and that thing happens.
I felt something.
Yeah. So that was really funny. After classes, at the end of the day, she gets to his dorm before he does and embarrasses him in front of all of his friends. The next day, Landon is like losing his mind because he can't figure out what exactly it is that he's feeling right now, but it's something. Becca has been teasing him. His brain is like all confuddled. The good boys and the super hot fat dom are like throwing him off of his game. He tries to talk up an occasional hookup cheerleader friend that he has named Carolyn. We are in his perspective at this point, and this is when we are like, oh no, he's actually a fuckboy. He's just like, at one point he's like, I'm throwing scraps at her feet to get her attention because I need to get my rocks off with someone. And we're like, oh, fuck you, Landon. You suck. Yeah.
Way to make it about you and your dick.
Exactly. So Becca finds him trying to do his fuckboy thing with Carolyn and ruins any shot that he has of ever fucking this cheerleader ever again. This fuckboy behavior of him is unacceptable. And if he isn't going to behave, then she is going to have to punish him. So she takes his keys from him and they go to his car where she has him jack off for her. She's like, well, you wanted to get your rocks off so bad, go ahead. She like guides him through it. She's very demanding and forceful about it. He is loving all of this, but then right before he's about to come, she snatches both of his hands, pulls them behind the seat, and restrains them and leaves him locked in the car with his dick out for like 45 minutes. At one point, his friends come by and they see him and they laugh at him and he's pissed, but also the hard-on never goes away the whole time. The humiliation of this is doing it for him. When she comes back, he is mad, but ultimately she's like, I think you need to learn that not everything is about you. You know, like not everything is going to be about you all the time and what you want. When all is finally said and done, she does relieve him. She leans down to like suck his dick, and all she has to do is blow on it a little bit and he comes. But that's not nearly enough for him, obviously. He's been pent up and then given a little bit of a release. So when she asks if he wants to do the full scene, of course, he wants to do the full scene. So that weekend, the night of the scene, Becca always runs her scenes in her home. She has her apprentice, Charlotte, pick up her subs and then blindfold them and drive them to the apartment so that they don't know where they live. Usually they take off the blindfold when they're at the door, but in this case she's left the blindfold on because once again Landon wants to be able to look at her naked body Not until she says. So he has the blindfold on for, I think, at least half of this scene. The first thing that she does is she has him take his clothes off, and then she has him get down on his hands and knees and clean the floor. She has all of her subs call her mistress, and she calls all of them pet in the scenes. So that's what the superlatives will be.
This is genius,
I
though.
know.
Just people pay you to come over, and then you just, okay, you do my floor. You clean up that closet. You.
Oh, no. Several times throughout the books, she has these men just do her chores.
Yes.
It's so good. It's so good. So first she has Landon clean her floors, and then she like climbs on his back and sits on his back while he's doing this to weigh him down some more. And then she like balances herself and reaches down and starts jacking him off while and he can't he can't clean the floor while he's doing this. And she's like, okay, pathetic. Yeah. Absolutely fucking pathetic. Landon, though, like all fuckboys, is an absolute brat, and he talks back to Becca about this. So she grabs him by the hair and drags him out to the living room and punishes him. She spanks him with a wooden paddle. And my dude really, really liked the paddling a lot. After that, she has him sit down on a wooden chair now that his ass is nice and sore, and she restrains him on that chair. And she sits on the couch and she masturbates in full view of him until she orgasms, and he is losing his shit. He's begging to fuck her, but that is not how this works. So instead, she drags the chair to the wall and like leans it backward until it's like precariously settled on a windowsill, and then she rides his face.
Oh, damn.
That was a crazy scene.
Yeah, no shit.
This is full femdom face riding. So she's using him. There's no being nice here. When that scene was finished, Buddy loved it. He loved the whole thing. But after she is finished and she has come on his face, he says, "Fuck me, please, fuck me." And she says, "Okay, buddy, you asked for it." She takes his restraints off, takes him back into the kitchen, down on your hands and knees. It's time for a pegging. And apparently Landon has played with his own bum before, because that dildo went in pretty smooth. She was impressed. She was like, "Oh, wow. Somebody's been playing with his back door. Naughty boy. All right." So she pegs the absolute crap out of it. Like, this was very rough. And he is begging to come, and she says that he can't until he apologizes for everything, basically, for being Landon. And he does. And then he finally comes. And the scene is complete. And she switches over into her fantastic aftercare persona. She cleans him up. She gets him fed. She gets him water. She lets him sleep for a couple of hours. She makes sure that he's okay. And then she calls Charlotte and tells her it's time for Landon to go home. And he does. And that's the end.
Nice.
But as he is leaving, she's thinking, "Oh man, I was thinking this was going to be like a one and done, but I kind of want to do it again." So she texts him and asks if he wants to do it again next weekend. And he says yes. Oh. So she's going to have a regular client in Landon now.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. So we will go right into book 2.
Let's do it.
Teaching the fuckboy. Our second fuckboy, his name is David Reynolds, aka Davi. D-A-V-I, Davi. I messaged Darling Day to make sure, and they said it is Davi. He is the cockiest asshole on campus, even compared to Landon Miller, especially now that Becca has been breaking Landon a little bit. Davi is another football player, but he is so much worse because he is openly a fuckboy. He's one of those guys who doesn't care. He knows how hot he is, and he knows that he can get away with everything.
Yeah, not like an accidental fuckboy.
Yeah, so he's not even trying to be nice. He's not trying to be smooth. He's not pretending that he's taking you on a date. You know? Davi Reynolds is an asshole. And let's see, he is super tall. He's also a super hot football player, book boyfriend style. He has dark brown skin, brown eyes, and a perpetually cocky grin. At the start of the book, he is like straight up propositions Becca. Like, he just walks up to her. She's at a football game or football practice with her roommate / apprentice. Charlotte is a cheerleader. So she's come to see Charlotte, I think, and hang out. And he's just like, "What's up? Let's do that." Like, he just propositions her, and she's like, "No." And eventually he says, look, slut, I know what you do for Lando. And she's like, oh, if anybody's the slut, it's you, you stupid dick. Like,
yeah, no shit. She gets paid for this shit. She's a pro.
Yeah. And at first she's mad because she thinks Landon has told Davi. And he says, no, I saw you humiliate him at the dorm. I saw him in the car. I know what you're doing here. I understand what's happening, right?
I'm a fuckboy, but I'm not an idiot.
And he says, look, I have this older cougar I'm trying to get with. I want to impress her, and I think I need more moves than my repertoire so far has provided to me. Basically, like, I think I need to learn to sub for this woman.
Can he truly be a fuckboy if he's that self-aware?
I don't know. That's the thing.
I feel like that's too much self-awareness for a true fuckboy.
Because I don't think he actually wants to learn how to please anyone.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think he just wanted to maybe get it. I think he was just intrigued enough by Becca to try and get his ass beat.
Try and get it in a little bit?
Yeah.
All right.
I think. Anyway, so she says she'll think about it, and she talks it over with Charlotte that night, and she's like, I don't know, man, because like I'm working and I've got school and I've got Landon and he's a handful, but I really can't, like, she just can't stop collecting these fuckboys, I guess. So she tells him,
they're like Pringles. You can't have just one.
Yeah.
Or those Lays. I don't remember.
Pringles.
Once
you pop, you can't
stop? Yeah. But I think Lays might be just can't eat just one. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Whatever it is. So after she talks it out with Charlotte, she sends Davi a message. They meet the next morning, and she offers her terms. Okay, so it's $800 for 2 days. On day 1, you will learn how to listen. You will learn how to wait. You will learn how to be a good boy. And then on the next day, you will learn how to please without an ego. And he agrees, but then he reaches out to try and touch her, and she says, no, you don't get to touch me without permission. And because he's a cocky brat, he says, okay, well, same right back at you. Okay, well, that makes Becca's plan slightly harder, but not impossible.
No.
Absolutely not. So she tells him to meet her at a party. I think it's Friday evening or something. And she promises that soon enough, he will be begging for her to touch him. At that party, it's a frat party of some kind. She teaches him how to really listen by having him go around to every single woman that he knows at that party, asking if her drink is empty, asking if she wants another one or if she would like it thrown away. And then if she wants another one, getting that order for her and bringing it back to her. Instead of just assuming that she wants a beer, you need to ask her what kind of drink she wants. And she has him do this for every woman at the party. And he's mad. He's like, I didn't come here to be a waiter. And she says, no, you came here to learn how to listen.
Yeah, that was the plan. That's what you paid
for.
Yeah.
Now you're learning how to listen.
And struggling.
Exactly. Submission isn't just about sex. There's so much more to it. If you want to learn how to be submissive, then okay. Otherwise, you can have your money back. But again, challenge accepted. These guys they never back down. So at one point while he's doing his service around the party, Becca runs into Landon, who is very briefly jealous, but that's not really what their relationship is about. You know, you can't be jealous. You're paying her. And she tells him to just back off for the evening. I'll see you later. I'll see you this weekend, right? Like, you're still on my books. Don't worry, babe. At the end of the evening, Becca and Davi go up to a bedroom, and she has him jerk off as a reward for being a good boy. But before he comes, she commands him to stop, and he obeys. So he gets a good boy. I think that's his first good boy as well. And again, the good boy thing happens. It's always funny every time. He can come only when she tells him to, and he doesn't that night. The next day, she has Charlotte bring Davi over in the morning. First, she has him cook her breakfast while wearing nothing but sparkly pink panties. He turns out to be a very good cook. Good job, Davi. At least you're useful for something. For the next lesson, it is pussy eating practice. So she has him lean over the counter at a 90-degree angle with his arms behind his back, holding himself up with only his core strength. And then she instructs him on how to properly lick a peach, the half of a peach, as if it were a pussy. And he, by the end of it, he's shaking because you can't hold yourself up for that long.
No, especially if you're tall.
Yeah. And he is. And he falls over and she gives him some shit for that. Bad boy, how will you ever learn if you can't even eat a peach? You know, like that's that was really funny. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, he fell on his face. And she's like, bad boy, fuck.
Womp womp.
She says, well, you know, our agreement said no hands, but it didn't say anything about touching you with tools. So stand back up, lean back over. Here's another peach half. Eat that while I paddle you for being a bad boy who fell down. And so she paddles him, I think 10 times. She makes him eat that peach. He indeed, again, loves the paddling. These guys love a paddling, and she is finally satisfied with his peach eating skills. She then takes him to the living room where she has him get onto a yoga mat and assume, I think it's called bridge pose. It's the one where you like, you're on your back and then you like put your arms underneath you and your shoulders back and your pelvis up in the air, and then you hold on to your own ankles.
Yeah.
She has him do that. And then she tortures his dick and balls with a vibrator for a while.
Jesus.
I know, right?
What does dick and balls ever do to you?
So much. So much. No, so she does that for a while, and it has him hold that pose the whole time. Again, he is almost falling over, straining. His muscles are not, she's trying to get him to admit that he's not as strong as he thinks he is, I guess, until after a while, she gets so turned on that she kneels over top of his head and uses the vibrator on herself to come while he is watching up close. When she comes, he begs to eat her out, and she's like, okay, go ahead, relax. And so he immediately flops down and just grabs her hips and pulls her down onto his face, and she rides his face for another orgasm. After that, she wants to give him his reward, but he does not have enough of a familiarity with anal play to go right to pegging. So instead, she takes him back to the kitchen, has him lay down on the counter this time, not having to hold himself up, and she uses a butt plug instead. And I think that's it, the butt plug, and she jacks him off.
Well, that was
and finally lets him come after like 3 days. Holy
Jesus
shit.
Christ.
And he was like literally a puddle of Davi on the ground at that point. Like
seriously.
He was done. Once again, with the aftercare and the rest, Becca is good at the aftercare. And I think at one point he was like, I think I like this aftercare thing. And she was like, yeah, good. Everybody should.
Yeah.
If anybody doesn't do it, fuck them.
Yeah. And if you don't do it, fuck you.
Exactly. Once he is cleaned up and rested and ready to go, she has Charlotte come to pick him up. And she says, well, you are much better prepared for your cougar now. And he's like, who? Oh, yeah. Well, what if I want to keep seeing you instead? And she's like, God damn it. I already had one fuckboy. I guess now I've got two.
Just
Look at me filling up my schedule.
Filling up this roster full of fuckboys.
Right? How we doing on time, my love?
Oh, we're great.
Fantastic, because we've got one story to go.
Let's do it.
Are you ready for breaking the fuckboy?
Oh, am I?
So our third and final fuckboy is named Ezekiel Harlow. We call him Zeke. He is a former fuckboy on campus.
He goes to FA meetings.
Oh, he's still a fuckboy. He just doesn't go to college anymore.
Oh. I thought he was in Fuckboys Anonymous.
No, God,
he just
no.
graduated. He's still a fuckboy. He's just not on campus anymore.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't graduate. He left school. He decided he didn't want to pursue a college degree. He now works as a mechanic.
All right.
I mean, that's totally cool. We're not making fun of him for dropping out of school.
Absolutely fucking not.
He just doesn't fuckboy on campus anymore. So the reason that we are meeting Zeke is because at the very end of teaching the fuckboy, Charlotte told Becca that the car that they share has been acting up. So she needs to take it to a mechanic. Zeke ends up being that mechanic. He was on campus at the same time as Becca, like their freshman year, and she saw the baby fuckboy path of destruction that he laid before he left campus. She doesn't like him. He's a cocky asshole. He's Southern. I don't know where he's from, but he has a drawl, and it gets stronger the angrier he is and stuff like that. He's your, again, I think standard issue book boyfriend, but he's got brown hair and big puppy dog eyes.
Okay.
And he's kind of rough around the edges and greasy because he works as a mechanic.
I just like the idea that his accent gets worse, or more
Stronger.
pronounced the more angry he gets. What's wrong with Zeke? He's completely incomprehensible. Cannot understand a word he's saying. He must be pissed.
Yep, exactly. So when Zeke recognizes Becca in the garage, they talk for a couple of minutes while he's like getting the estimate done on her car. He is truly like a cocky egomaniac. During this sequence, he lets it slip that he is still friends with Landon and Davi in some capacity. I'm not sure how or why, but that he knows what Becca does.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any discretion? Is there any honor amongst subs?
Lord fucking knows, I guess. I have no idea. She's mad, and she initially is so he sees her as a challenge. He basically propositions her because he sees her as a challenge. And I think in a way, he kind of thinks of Landon and Davi as being weak.
Bold assumption.
Because there are a couple of times in the chapter from his perspective where he thinks that he can please her better than they can. And I feel that is because he thinks that because he's not submissive, he's not breakable, that he's better somehow.
Okay.
The ego of this man. The ego of this man. Anyway, this book is called Breaking the Fuckboy.
Yeah, I was going to say, was it disrespecting and then
punishing?
Oh, punishing,
teaching,
breaking. Okay.
Yeah. So every interaction that they have, he is very specifically pushing against her own power. So like he tries to assert dominance in little social ways that wouldn't normally register to anybody except Becca knows what he's trying to do. So he's like, stay here. I'll get your car done soon. And she says, no, I will be leaving and you can call me when it's done, whether it's 20 minutes or 2 hours. I don't care. Or there's another point where he, I think, tries to put words in her mouth or something like that. And she's like, no, absolutely fucking not. No.
Listen here, shithead.
I don't know who you think you are, but no. I'm Becca goddamn Roberts, and you will respect me, and you will call me ma'am or Miss Roberts.
You're going to learn today.
Yeah. So eventually she comes and picks up her car, and he is laying on the charm thick, and he asks her to go on a date with him, and she says, all right, you know what? I will go on a date with you, but you need to do a scene like Landon or Davi does for me without breaking. And if you don't break, I'll go on a date with you. And he's like, game on. Absolutely. She has him come to her apartment for their first meeting as sort of a test to see if he is even capable of being submissive. Like she's not going to try and break him until she knows whether or not he'll even participate in the process. She wants to see if he's got that little spark of sub in him.
Yeah.
You know? So she brings him to the apartment, but she is not alone. He knows this. They have discussed all of this in advance. She has 3 other doms with her. Her friends, Jen and Val and Charlotte. And they will be providing additional dom support.
I would love if you've never seen you've watched the Wired support videos on YouTube with me.
Oh yeah, dom support.
Dom support. I would love to see a dom support where people are asking questions about doms and a dom is answering those questions. That would be.
I'm pretty sure we've watched one like that.
If we have, I don't remember it, but I will definitely go looking for it because I love that series.
Yeah. Anyway, so Becca knows that her usual methods of like frat boy party drink bitch and annoy you around campus are not going to work for Zeke. So she's going to put him into a full slave position and put him to good use, put him to service. Yeah. The first thing that she does is she gives him to the other doms and she says whatever they want. So they have him get down on hands and knees, take his shirt off, and spit shine their shoes with his shirt. And he does. And he is grumbling and angry the whole time, but he does it.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice shirt.
Yeah. The next thing is they have him wash their dishes. Do chores, household chores, man. And this is where he earns at some point his first good boy in this sequence. And again, but it's a small Like if she wasn't really paying attention, she might not have noticed. And that's her first indication. Oh, maybe Zeke really does have a deeply buried sub that needs to be broken free.
Mm-hmm.
After that, the three doms sit on the couch and remove their shoes so that he can give them all pedicures. And he doesn't have a very steady hand with the nail polish, but he does paint all of their toes. And then they make him air dry their toes by blowing on them. But so this part was from his perspective. He is on hands and knees. The smell of the nail polish is getting to him. And now he is huffing and puffing repeatedly on their feet. And he's all dizzy and fucked up from the endorphins of this situation. And eventually he just falls over.
Yeah, he faints.
He just falls to the side. He doesn't fully faint, but he falls to the side.
I would.
And Becca is kind enough to give him a break. So she grabs him by the scruff of the neck and she picks him up and puts him on the wooden chair and has him watch while all of the ladies get themselves off. And he tries to touch himself and she tells him to stop, but he won't. So she tries to manually remove his hand and he pulls back. He fights her. So that's no good.
Yep.
You don't fight back against mistress. She takes the chair away. She has him get down on his hands and knees, and she proceeds to punish him by flogging him with a riding crop for, I believe, 10 lashes while the ladies finish getting themselves off in front of him. And he was loving it the whole time. This was still in his perspective. He was keeping himself from coming the entire time. Let's not worry about Zeke. Zeke loves all of this. Okay. So when the ladies are all finished, they pack up and they go and they get cleaned up and they leave. And Zeke says that, well, she still didn't break him. And Becca says, okay, but I think that we can try. If you still want to try. I am going to need someplace more secluded than this, though.
A little more soundproof.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to need, I think she said initially she said $3,000. And eventually they end up negotiating $1,500 for 2 days. Zeke drives, provides all of the gas and all of the food and his family's cabin in the woods. Reminder that Darling Day lives in Michigan. So this is a Michigan cabin in the woods.
Oh.
Right? I know, right?
Oh, because that's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Is what that is.
It is. But this one's a vibe.
Okay, good.
So at this point with this ego thing, Zeke thinks that he can please her better than, he thinks that he can please her better than Landon and Dabby can. And he thinks that being unbreakable is somehow the thing that is going to solidify his position in her esteem or something. He is competing, but with who?
Yeah, he does not understand that this is completely transactional for Becca, and this is her job.
Yeah. With who? For what? To what end, Ezekiel? You know? Either way, he agrees to this thing. He says yes. She says it's going to be intense. It's going to be way more intense than tonight was. The riding crop is nothing, my guy. And he says challenge accepted.
She has a fucking cat o' nine tails with thorns.
No, she doesn't have one of those, but she does have a whip.
Oh shit.
So they sign a contract agreeing to it, and she says, don't jerk off until next weekend. And he's like, wait, what? Because he still hasn't come even after all of this. Mm-hmm. And she said, I said what I said. So.
And I'll know.
Well, he actually doesn't. Good boy. I don't know why he doesn't, but he doesn't. She believes him when he says he doesn't. That weekend, they meet up to make the 3-hour drive to the cabin. They stop for groceries. They spend the time in relative silence. I think Zeke mostly listens to the radio. Becca reads on her Kindle. She reads a lot of dirty romances because she's like us. And
one of us.
They make it up there, but Zeke can't help but be a brat. I mean, he's a fuckboy. The brat dial is turned up to 11 all the time on this man. So when
not all fuckboys are brats, but not all brats are fuckboys, but all fuckboys are brats?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that would be correct. Once they get up to the cabin, the scene officially begins as soon as they walk in the door, as negotiated. So Becca gets herself into like a more dom mode. She cleans up. She takes off her road tripping clothes, and Zeke puts away all of the groceries and is in his boxers on his knees, exactly where she said to be when the countdown is done. Good job, Zeke. We begin by shutting up the very mouthy fuckboy with a scarf in his mouth, and now it's time to do push-ups. So first she has him do just 10 push-ups, and then she gets on his back, and She doesn't put her full weight on him. She puts her feet on the ground
Still,
so
though.
she can
Yeah.
vary the weight, but still though. And she tells him to do 50 push-ups, and he's like, absolutely. He's got a cocky grin on his face. Of course, he thinks he can do this, but by the time he's gotten to like 6 or 7, it's getting pretty hard. She gets the riding crop out. She starts cropping his ass while he's doing push-ups. I think he gets to 22 or 23 before he spits that gag out and starts being mouthy again. No. That's not how this works. You don't get your way by mouthing off. So she snatches him up by the hair and she takes him to bend over the back of the couch.
Okay, first of all, Zeke, you never talk back to your mistress. I want to address this real quick. You never talk back to mistress, first of all. But second of all, when she's telling you to do push-ups, you thank her for the extra reps.
Okay, well, that for sure, yes.
You thank her for the extra gains, and you shut up and you get those gains.
Now, I will say, there are going to be a lot of mistresses out there who are really sad if you never talk back again.
Yeah.
So maybe talk back a little, but always do the push-ups.
Get your push-ups.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe politely ask if she wouldn't mind if you did some body weight squats or some pull-ups.
Yeah.
You know.
Something.
Yeah.
Mistress just wants you to be in good physical shape.
To survive her mistressing.
And the coming apocalypse.
But mostly the mistressing.
Yes. Anyway. Back to Zeke and Becca. So she drags him out to the living room. She bends him over the back of the couch where she puts a cock cage on him. Cage around his dick and balls. And then she puts a butt plug in his ass. This is what happens if you want to keep being a mouthy brat. She's going to up her game. Now you're in a cock cage and there's butt plug in your ass. And it's time for you to cook her some food. She's hungry. So she spanks him for his insolence, but that is the last of the sexy times for the evening. He spends the rest of the day with the cage and the plug in place, but otherwise he cooks her dinner, he cleans up, she settles in for a really lovely evening of like cozy fire ambiance, and occasionally has him like do something for her. But that's about it. That's all that happens. The next day, after she gets herself ready, she wakes Zeke up. He sleeps on the couch. She sleeps in the bedroom. And she offers him a present. She's gotten him a pretty pink studded collar with a matching pink leash. She collars him. He agrees to be collared. And he is going to wear the collar today and go everywhere he needs to go at her behest. Like he has to ask first, and then she will lead him where he needs to go. Immediately, he tries to go pee, like go to the bathroom, and she just holds the leash, and he just gets pulled back by the neck. It's really funny. They get through the morning like this. I think he cooks her breakfast and washes the dishes, but he continues to be an absolute brat, and Becca has had about enough of him, so she drags him back to the living room, and she pulls him into flogging position over the couch, and she whips him with her whip. Yes, she has a whip. But that does not break him. After several lashes, he laughs, and she realizes, oh, the pain does it for him. He really likes pain. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to change it up. Okay, we're going to bring in new plan. She has him kneel by the fireplace, cage still on. I don't know if the plug's still there, but the cage has been on for 2 days at this point. And she ties him up. She ties his arms behind his back, and I think she attaches that to an ankle restraint as well. And she has him kneel there and do nothing for hours while she reads. And just watch her read a book. And every time she says anything, he has to say, yes, ma'am, back to her. And that is starting to get to him. Saying, yes, ma'am, is starting to get to him. Something about that is doing it. And she's like, I think I'm onto something here. They spend the rest of the evening like that. Again, there's no sexy times.
She's just dialing him in.
She's dialing him in. She's trying to find what's going to break him. The last day, she's like, this is it. I have to figure it out today. And she has had it. She is like pissed at this point. She has never found a sub she's been unable to break before. What the fuck do you mean it's taken 3 days? And I haven't done it yet. She's mad. Mm-hmm. And now she has something to prove as well. Zeke has been collared for the morning. He's cleaned up the dishes after making breakfast. They're awake. They're ready to go. And the next thing she does is she has him go outside, still naked, but they're in rural Michigan, so it's not like anybody's going to see him. It's early fall, so it's pretty cold. And she has him kneel in the grass, and she uses ice cubes for temperature play to freeze him, basically. Yeah. This is not necessarily an enjoyable sensation play. She's
No.
overloading his senses. But that still isn't enough. He is still like, she spits an ice cube into his mouth, and that really does it for him. Some mild spit play. My apologies. That really does it for him. And she's like, "Oh, okay, you a freak. All right, well, let's get to it." She takes him back inside. This time, she takes all the brakes off of her degradation machine, and she tries to get him to call her mistress, but he defies her again. So she pulls out the whip. She has him kneel on the floor. Again, pain is a major thing for him. She knows that he loves it now, so she is whipping him repeatedly, trying to get him to call her mistress, but he won't do it. He is hard as a rock. She can tell he wants to come so bad. Like in the cock cage, she is turning purple. Mm-hmm. So eventually, she kneels down, she releases it from the cage, and she's like, "You want to come? Do you want to come? Do you want to be good? Do you want to be good for mommy?"
Oh, yeah, there it is.
There it is. Mommy's what finally does it. And he breaks, and he is begging to come for mommy. And when she says that he can, he doesn't even have to touch it. He just comes. He's been holding it for this poor man. But when he's done, she's like, "I don't think I've ever seen somebody look so happy before. Like, he looks so much better now." And again, she flips into her aftercare mode, takes care of him, gets him in the shower, feeds him some mac and cheese, puts him to bed on the couch, and the next morning they clean up like it never even happened, and they drive back home. And he says that it was worth it.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't think he ever felt alive until last night.
Christ.
And she's like, "Maybe you weren't." And he's like, "Okay, don't get cocky."
That's my thing.
That's my job.
Yeah.
And that is the end. That was the end of... There's one more. There's supposed to be one more in the Fuckboy Karma series, but that is the end of the Fuckboy Karma series for now. Thank you very much. I so very much needed a woman to just beat the shit out of some dudes in books this week. That's what I needed, and that's what I read.
I totally support and understand that. Now, I don't think... I don't know. Have we ever discussed doms? I know we haven't discussed doms at this great a length on the show, or any characters that were doms in the run of our show. Am I correct in that recollection?
Female doms, you mean?
Female doms.
Doms, D-O-M-M-E-S.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've had like pleasure doms and stuff like that, but like
professional doms.
I don't.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
No, we've never had professional doms. We've never done anything like, we've never done a book in a club or anything like that.
So what these three books have reinforced in me is that while I am intrigued by the idea, I know I never could because I am too fucking autistic. I wouldn't be a brat.
No.
I would just be like, "Oh no." First of all, I don't like being touched. I don't respond to various touches very well, so the pain thing wouldn't be good. But if like
sensation play is not really
sensation play, not for me. I would ask too many questions.
Yeah.
You would like, if she asked me, she told me to like mop the floor, I would be asking questions about like where's the supplies? What do I do? How do you prefer that this is done? Do you have a specific way? Do you want this done? Because when I do it, this is how I like to do it. So I want to make sure that I'm doing this the way you want. Is this, get on my knees? Okay, I'll get on my knees. Mm-hmm. Kind of thing. Like I could not do.
This is the thing. You're already a good boy.
Well, that's exactly. I just would not be a good sub.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wow, life was my dom.
Yes, you got dommed into shape by life.
Little did I know. But holy shit.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
I know. They're so much fun. Like I said, they're worth the $3 a piece. I own them. I'll probably read them a couple of times a year just for fun. They're so much fun. Everybody should buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the plus side, I found out something that I was not into.
Yes.
But what are you into?
What am I into?
I know we just recorded an episode 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So
I had to think of another thing.
You got to think of another thing you're into.
Yeah. I am into the book Awakening in Sapphire by Jonathan Harker. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Harker, that's an entirely different universe.
Nope. Jonathan Harker. Awakening in Sapphire is currently book one of the Once and Forever Kings series, which is an romance, but it's a very slow burn, very low spice. It is more a fantasy and world building experience, and it's urban fantasy set in the future of Arthurian legend. It begins with Morgan Le Fay waking from a 17th century slumber. And I was like, hell yes, I'm all in immediately. You're talking techno-futurist magic? Fuck yes. Arthur? Fuck yes. Let's do this immediately. And so I started reading that book on Wednesday when I was really sad. And it was the first thing that day that made me feel better. It was a world that welcomed me into it, and it was beautiful, and I wanted to know more about it immediately. And I can't wait to keep reading it. That's what I am into. What are you into?
I am into what I am at present. And this is definitely, I know that this is probably a big case of recency bias. But I am into what I am at present considering to be the best adaptation of a comic book that I have ever seen, and that is the Prime Video series Invincible, based off of the comic book originally created by Robert Kirkman, who also created the Walking Dead comic book. Cory Walker was the original artist who worked on the first 7 issues of the comic book series, but then the rest of the run was handled by the magnificent Ryan Ottley. It ran for over a decade. I timed it perfectly because I've read the entire run of Invincible. I was prompted by my good friend Ben. It's his favorite book. He recommended it. I read all of it. And then I put it down, and then years went by. They made the series. The first 2 seasons came and went, and I never watched it. So I'm pretty sure that there are things in the series that deviate from the comic, but it's been so long since I finished the comic that I can't remember. But I remember, like, I know all the relationships and all the characters, and I know who all these people are. But I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of stuff going on that did not happen in the books. So it's in this really sweet spot of I'm familiar, but also rediscovering. And so it's been a lot of fun. The cast is phenomenal. It is so well written. The animation style, it's basically they just animated the comics. It looks
cool as hell. Every time I look up, it looks cool.
It looks tremendous. And you got J.K. Simmons, you've got Sandra Oh, Stephen Yeun, Seth Rogen, Walton Goggins, Zazie Bates, Jillian Jacobs. I know I'm forgetting some. And Andrew Rannells plays his friend William, and there's probably some characters who have not shown up yet, who played by people that I would be impressed to see. Jason Mantzoukas is Jason Mantzoukas in it. Zachary Quinto is he plays Robot.
Yep.
It's such a damn good series, and I can't wait to probably get all caught up with it by the end of this weekend. So if you have access to Amazon Prime Video, I highly encourage you to watch it. It is a very graphic superhero story, but it's also a very real and grounded superhero story. Like I was telling you, the scene where Mark has his first big fight, and a couple of human beings in front of him sort of just get popped by like balloons by these aliens, and he loses his shit because he's now covered in those people. It's not like you see in some of the more sanitized versions where I'm super prepared and I immediately know what to do. He does not immediately know what to do. So it's very real, very grounded, but very graphic. So do not be
I look up and see so much red on the screen.
I know, right? But then I said to you last night, like at the beginning of every episode, at the top, like the rating, it says 16 plus, and I'm like, I don't know if a 16-year-old's ready for this shit. But if a 16-year-old can be invincible, then maybe a 16-year-old human can watch it. I don't know. TLDR, it's so fucking good. Go watch it. What do we have on the agenda for next week?
Next week, I am reading Once Ghosted, Twice Shy by Alyssa Cole. I read the first book in this series, the Reluctant Royals series, a couple of years ago, and I really wanted to do an Alyssa Cole book on the show, but her books are too long for me to cover. And then I found out that there was a novella of this series, so I'm doing the Once Ghosted, Twice Shy, Reluctant Royals novella by Alyssa Cole next week.
And as always, I cannot wait to hear it. But in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Cheap Smut. If you would like to send us an email, I highly encourage you to do so. cheapsmutpod@gmail.com. Once this show hits the main feed, the top link on our link tree will be a link to this book. It is not an affiliate link. We do not get any money for it. We are just trying to help the authors out. If you would like to support us financially, we would greatly appreciate it, and you can do so on Patreon for just $1 a month, like these folks have: Aaron Manak, Miss Chris, Raven, Natasha Bear, Desiree Rodriguez, Local Mind Flayers, Seattle number 42, Bookworm, Kitsune Inc., Cassie, Cassandra, Brian S., April D. Berry, Leah Legend, Dana Goddard, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O., and Rebecca K. The music that you hear in this and every episode is called Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it, along with thousands of other songs, free of charge for you to use, but not you, Himbo Jones, at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org.
Himbo Jones is sad about it. Or maybe he's just sleeping. Listener, remember, if there's a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she will come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
And we're done.